It's football's toughest job, but in many cases, being a manager is a very different role today than it was 20 years ago. So what exactly has changed, and could we be seeing less of them in the future? Hello there and welcome to Football Now from London. Who would be a manager is a saying often used in football, but that phrase might be a thing of the past. Now, and more so than ever, we're seeing head coaches take charge of first team squads. This week we're going to be taking a look at why this is happening and the varying trends across Europe. But first, what are some of the differences between a head coach and a manager?
Yeah, for me the main difference between the head coach and the manager is that the head coach, the main focus is always in the team, in the game, in the developing the tactical and technical aspects of the game, developing the training sessions, developing the study the opponents. It's more focused on the game and how to win the next game, the head coach. And for me, the manager is more focused in the team, developing the team, developing also the aspect of the training, but also everything around the fatalities, the scouting process, the negotiation with the players, have a broader role than the head coach.
So despite the fact that head coaches and managers are the ones standing on the touchline during a match, the day-to-day roles are somewhat different. And this can vary across Europe too. For example, in Spain, the Real Madrid chairman Florentino Perez first took over the club back in the year 2000 and has remained in charge of the club's transfer policy ever since, taking that burden away from the manager. Yet British football's most successful ever manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, looked after the transfers and the player welfare, as well as on-the-pitch tactics. When once asked about the key to his success, his answer was control.
So I think it's evolution. All the coaches start more with the training like a head coach, and in the end of the season, of the career, they become more a manager. Like, for instance, Jose Mourinho in the beginning, he was responsible to do the warm-up, to do the main parts. But then he started to evolve, and with the age, he started delegating more the training aspects, because the most important is to have a group, to put the players in our idea and our goal. So the manager starts to think training is very important, but the aspects around the football, like the staff that we have in the team, the scouting, the process, everything is also very important. The organization of all the club is most important. This is why a lot of coaches like to have the control of the transfer, the control of the negotiations, because they get to realize that the training is limited in the evolution, but if we control everything, it's more easy to have success long term in the club.
More control means more responsibility, and with the financial burdens associated with the modern game more prominent than ever, there's even more pressure to succeed. Let's take a look at one example. Red Bull Leipzig have grown into a heavyweight of the German game since they were taken over by the sports drink in 2010. The cash injection allowed their most famous manager, Ralf Rangnick, the chance to switch roles to become sporting director, hiring Ralf Hasenhüttl to succeed him in the process. The appointment was deemed a stroke of genius in Germany, and whilst those two have since moved on, the club has not looked back since.
Anything Ralf Rangnick does is it's normally looked with a high value and high worth. He became popular from his days in managing SSV Ulm, which is the lower league side. He was on a football show and basically had a tactics board and explained what he wanted to do. And this gave him the nickname Professor. Things have happened at that club which have had a very big domino effect on football tactics, the way football is played. Down to this day, the amount of coaches that have gone through the Red Bull school of thought and play within the same parameters and the same philosophy. So the common occurrence of high active pressing, the very quick transitions from going from defense to attack to defense, it's very entertaining.
So it's fair to say that one key person working at the top works in some cases, and in others, sharing the workload is the preference. But perhaps the most important question to ask at this point is, what does the future look like for those hoping to lead their club to glory?
I think it has to be a collaboration now. I think you have to involve the players in the process because they're their own brands. They have their own ideas on the game now because it's so accessible. Heads of departments all have opinions. Sports science, now we have a sports science department, nutritionists, analytical departments. I think football's changed because of the head of recruitments now and the director of footballs and the head coaches that clubs are bringing in, because money in the lower levels especially, and even at the top level, you will have a club idea. So the idea is to sign maybe younger players who they can then develop and then they can sell on. So they get a head coach who can work with a director of football and maybe a head of recruitment, and they will specifically pluck out someone who is really comfortable working with people like that now. So I think the more times that you can get players to understand that, then the better results will come.
Well, that brings us to the end of this week's show from me in London and the team in Doha. Do let us know if you prefer your club to be run by a head coach or manager using the hashtag FootballNowLeading, and we'll see you at the same time next week. Bye for now.